The Long Range Planning Group has been charged with listening to friends in Philadelphia Yearly Meeting with divine assistance to name the ways in which we are called to move forward as a community. One of the proposals of Long Range Planning Group involves changing the structure of the yearly meeting. I'm Christy Duncan Tesmer. I'm a member of Long Range Planning Group and a member of Chestnut Hill Friends Meeting. I'm also serving the yearly meeting as the Associate Secretary for Program and Religious Life, and I'm going to walk us through the proposed structure. This is our yearly meeting. These are the meetings in our yearly meeting. These meetings and the people in our community are the yearly meeting. All the way through this plan, you will see this image at the center of what it is that we're proposing, because this is the center of who we are, and this is what's most important. One of the primary structures is the Quaker Life Council. The Quaker Life Council fosters a dynamic and interconnected, spirit-led faith community. That's its charge. It provides oversight and coordination of the yearly meeting programs, as well as opportunities to weave all of our gifts and experiences together across the whole region. And it does this in a whole variety of ways. One important way is attending to the community. Through the community of us, of the friends in our community and the meetings, the monthly and quarterly meetings in our community. There are several ways that the yearly meeting already is doing some of this work. So the Thread programs is a good example of that. Sprints is an idea that long-range planning has been including in its thinking moving forward, and an idea that has already started. So let me give you an example of a sprint. Following the first day school Thread gathering in November, it became clear at the gathering that one of the things that friends were really needing is resources and support for people who are teaching first day school for the first time. Often people who are teachers are also new to the meeting, and so it's helpful to have more resources for them. So coming out of that gathering, several people said, yeah, we'll work on that. And they have been meeting since January, once a week, over the phone, to plan and find and identify resources to put together for this purpose. And it will be ready to launch in April. So that's a short-term way that people can get involved, share their own skills, share what they have learned by being deeply involved in their own meeting, and bring it back to the entire community. Clusters is another opportunity where people who have a common interest can come together and work together on whatever it is that they feel like they want to work together on. An example that's been named is quarterly meeting clerks may want to work together on a particular project or a particular idea for a short amount of time. Under the Quaker Life Council, they'll be given the resources to help them get together in that way. Our youth programs is another example of how we come together across our community. Another aspect of our yearly meeting that the Quaker Life Council cares for is the network of people. There are two particular ways in which they're focusing on this. One would be to build a reservoir of friends and their skills, so that if, for instance, there was a meeting who wanted to get better at the adult religious ed opportunities in their meeting, we could go to this network and find friends who were willing to help other meetings and who had the skills in this area. We could identify them and connect them with the meeting that needed that kind of help. That's the skills reservoir. Another idea is to identify catalysts in each constituency. So constituencies would include every monthly meeting, every quarterly meeting. It could include any group that identified themselves as a constituency. Middle school friends could be one. Friends of color could be one. Quarterly meeting clerks. Whoever saw themselves as a constituency in the yearly meeting could then identify a person within them who would be the catalyst and would be responsible for paying attention in particular to what is happening in the yearly meeting, what are the resources, and what are the needs, and communicating that back and forth between their own constituency and the rest of the community. So if that constituency had a great idea or something that was working so well that they wanted to share with everybody else, the catalyst would have particular understanding of where to share that information and how to share it. And on the other hand, if their own community really needed help with something, they would be the one who would go out and find that help by using the network and the community and everything that the yearly meeting has to offer. And there are some programs and functions that are ongoing that we will continue to need to pay attention to on a long-term basis, and those will be supported by committees. So an easy example of that is sessions. We will continue to have annual sessions, and we will continue to need a group that will do the planning for annual sessions. So that would be a committee that would be ongoing. Now, the number of committees that we expect will be much smaller than the committees and working groups that we have now. They would be limited to the ones that are addressing the priorities and the strategic directions of our yearly meeting. Other activities would not be under the care of the yearly meeting and would not have committees supporting that structure. In this way, we'll have fewer structures that we need to pay attention to and that we need to have enough people on to make it viable. That's part of the simplifying of the yearly meeting that Friends have called for. So the Quaker Life Council supports all those things that I just described. The Quaker Life Council will have about 15 people on it who will be nominated to the position by the nominating committee, and they'll be approved by the yearly meeting in session. Another council is the Administrative Council. Also with 15 people named to it by the nominating committee and approved by the yearly meeting in session. The Administrative Council manages and allocates the resources of the yearly meeting and provides oversight for the finances, the property, the personnel, and strategic planning. They will need to set up structures to take care of some of those things, and so they'll have committees under them. They might set up a sprint in the same way that Quaker Life Council might have a sprint working on a particular project for a short term. But the Administrative Council is responsible for making sure that everything is in place in order to meet its own charge. Then there's the nominating committee. As mentioned, that committee is responsible for naming people to Administrative Council and the Quaker Life Council. They're also responsible for identifying the officers of the yearly meeting and the elders of the yearly meeting, and also for identifying people who are representatives to other organizations, such as Friends General Conference. The nominating committee has 20 people on it. It includes one representative from each quarterly meeting and 7 at-large members who are named by the Administrative Council. We will continue to have yearly meeting in session. That will continue to happen in residential sessions in the summer as it currently does. We will also have continuing sessions that will occur probably 2 times during the year in between annual sessions. The continuing sessions will have somewhat of the flavor of annual sessions now, where there's opportunity for some business as it's needed, but there's also opportunity for learning together, for working together. There may be committee work that happens at that time, and fellowship and feeling ourselves be a community across all of our diversity will be an important part of continuing sessions. So yearly meeting in session and continuing sessions are both opportunities for us to all come together, regardless of our age, our meeting, our particular ministry or focus within our community. So there are some important parts of this plan that I want to bring to your attention. One is that this structure allows friends to participate in a large variety of ways. There's space for everyone to step up and be part of this large community of friends as they're interested, as they're willing, as they're led. So they could participate in a very short-term way by attending a thread gathering or by receiving thread letters on particular ministries that are interesting to them. They can lead a workshop at a thread gathering, write stories about what's happening in their meeting, and share that through the thread letter so lots of people know about them. They could participate in a sprint. They could participate in any kinds of the programs, but what this does is allow anyone from any place to step into the larger community and then move back in and be really centered and grounded in their own monthly meeting. So the yearly meeting is a way of expanding their experience of being a friend. This plan, while some things will still, of course, happen in Philadelphia, it focuses on ways of being in relationship with our whole yearly meeting that doesn't only involve being part of a committee. It allows people to participate without having to go to Philadelphia. The people who are participating in the current sprint are from New Jersey and outside of Philadelphia and inside of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. But they're meeting by phone and they're working through the internet, so it doesn't really matter where they live, but they're exploring what's important to them, going deeper into that in a way that will support their own monthly meeting and the rest of the yearly meeting. I want to point out also that there is some real change here. So, for example, there won't be interim meeting anymore. There's continuing sessions, but there's not interim meeting. And for friends who have really experienced their connection to the yearly meeting by being part of interim meeting or by being part of committees that meet on a regular basis every month, there will be fewer of those kinds of opportunities. And that's in balance with there being more opportunities of different ways of participating. So this has been a general overview of one of the strategic directions of the yearly meeting, and it's been pretty general. If you want more information about the new structure of the yearly meeting or about other strategic directions, then you can go to the long-range planning group's pages on the website.